I got involved with Cry probably about 2.5 years ago, following the death of my wife, and how that came about was we were running in a 10-kilometre race in London, the British 10K, and at the end of the race I was waiting for Katrina to finish. After about sort of 10 minutes of expecting her to be showing up, there wasn't any sign of her, and a couple of paramedics rushed by me. And more sort of for my own peace of mind, I guess, I thought, well, let's just sort of follow them and see what's happened. I'm sure it's not Katrina. But I sort of followed them down to the finish line, and it was then that I saw that Katrina had collapsed, and they were trying to resuscitate her, and she collapsed at the finish line, having completed the race, and apparently she actually died there and then, although she was rushed to Guy's and St Thomas's, where after about 3/4 of an hour I was told that she had they'd done everything they could, but she had passed away. And it wasn't until a week or so later that I found out that it was from an undetected heart condition that neither her or myself or any of Katrina's family knew about, which I guess makes it very, in some ways, makes it very difficult to accept, because Katrina was such a healthy person, exercised, loved yoga, swimming, playing tennis, ate incredibly healthily, and it's just not what you in a million years would expect to happen, I guess. So that's really the story of how I became involved in Cry, or how I came to find out about Cry. Katrina and I had been married for just over 2 years, although we'd known each other for about 10 years. So it was obviously a massive shock, and something which I guess after 2.5 years I'm still learning to cope with. Obviously affected us hugely. I guess the loss of a loved one in any situation is incredibly difficult to cope with and deal with. But when it happens so suddenly and without warning, it's it's very, very difficult. And at the age of 30, you don't really think about saying goodbye to anyone, and I guess that was one of the major issues to cope with, was the fact that none of us did say goodbye to Katrina, or were able to say goodbye to her. We travelled up to London on that day, just expecting to have go for this 10K run, and not for a minute thinking that that would be the last time that I saw Katrina was at the start line. I think also the fact that Katrina was such a larger-than-life character, and one which certainly her sisters would rely on for advice and guidance in so many things, and would speak to her every day on the phone, has made it even more difficult, because she was such a caring and loving person, not only to her sisters and her mum, but obviously to me and my family and all our friends. But yeah, she's left a massive void in all our lives. And of course we'll all always remember her with a great deal of happiness, and just remember all the joy that she brought into our lives, and all the love that she gave us. I guess the main thing that we were looking forward to was to having a family together, and we'd thought that towards the end of 2006 would be a good time to start trying for kids, and that time never came. But having kids was something that we had talked about so much, and were looking forward to immensely. I know that Katrina would have been the best possible mother that I could have imagined. I quite often think about what could have been, and now sort of just over 2 years on, if Katrina had still been around, maybe we would have had a family, and it's a terrible tragedy that we weren't allowed to fulfil our dreams, I guess, and I guess that probably was our main